Let's talk about it. Doctor Who. Oh, great. Not good. Not good at all. Um, After watching episode 2, I thought, let's get back to what it was. Episode 3, really good. I actually think episode 3 is the strongest episode. Episode 4 was too bad, and then episode 5 came, and then I was like, oh god, kill me now, please. What was that acting and the CGI? Oh, I can't. So, I'm going to use iPlayer to know the episode names because I can't remember. The only one that I can remember is the one that was actually the best episode of the series that was made by Stephen Moffat that I think should return to Doctor Who because he actually writes a decent story that's dark. And this is what Doctor Who needs. It needs to be stopped. This softness of this flaky softness. I'm sick and tired of it. But let's talk about Boom first because I think that episode was a good Doctor Who episode. It's been the best one of Niti Gatwa's era. Right up there with Devil's Cord, I think. Two really good episodes back to back, but it's a bit annoying because there's not a really good episode. And I think the problem with Doctor Who now, it's got too soft. It's really got too soft. It needs to start going back to that Stephen Moffat. I mean, Dot and Buttle, that's episode 5. I have no words for it. I cannot. I just don't understand. And this is another reason why I didn't upload episode 4 because I wanted a few more episodes to come out to see how it was. So I watched episode 4 and episode 5 back to back. I couldn't. I couldn't. I couldn't understand what the whole point of episode 5 was about because the aliens were shit. I'm not gonna hold back, but they were fucking shit. There's not really a storyline, really. I think the message was to not go on your phone all the time and not believe everything. But we've had that before. I'm sure we had that in an early episode in Russell T Davis's era. But it was so... The problem is, none of this is making any sense. And I don't know what it's leading to. At least I thought episode 4 was a bit more of a meaning, but still, it didn't make any sense. You've destroyed a circle for like a witch thing. I don't know what it was, but it don't make any sense. If you think about it, you're like, sorry, what? At least Boom had an element of storyline to it, but there's not. All the aliens have been weak. All the enemies have been weak. Um, they've been badly CGI, and it's not what I want to watch. Really, I watch it because I want to see a change in Doctor Who. But if you're not gonna at least attempt to write a good storyline, just tell me, and then I won't watch it. I'll watch it just to review it. And as a Doctor Who fan, I don't know how people like this. This is nothing. This is nothing on the lines of Series 10, anything before that. Because let me be honest with you, Series 10 was the last good Doctor Who series I can remember by the back of my mind that was actually pretty decent. Judy Whittaker's era, 1 or 3 good stories, and I say again, in this era, there's only been 2 good stories yet. And there's nothing really picking it up. There's no, like, new alien, and I'm like, wow. It's not like the old Russell T Davies where there's like, oh, there's a new alien. You know, the episode where Rose goes and sees her father. Those aliens were scary. Not like scary, and I could go with them because I was at a very young age. I think I was 3 watching Doctor Who. But when I rewatched that episode as an older adult, I was like, yeah, that story meant something. It's like, the the Doctor Dancers, that 2-part episode in World War Two with Chris Ericsson. I do that every time. Eckerson. I'm doing a lot of football reviews as well here on YouTube as well. But it doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense. It's like gibberish. It's worse than Chibnall right now, the writing we're seeing. And Russell T Dares thinks this works. It doesn't. It doesn't please an audience. It's just political nonsense, if I'm going to be honest with you. And it's like the 73 yards episode was obviously a direct target at Conservatives, but it was clear because like the person had blue. It's clear he doesn't like the Conservatives and he's a big Labour supporter. But let's be honest, it should be red because you're a Welshman and you know that what Labour's doing to your country, and it's just not me trying to be political, but I am being political. Labour have not helped your country, so why would you need Keir Starmer to be a prime minister? That's a separate thing. But I don't want this political message. I actually want episodes to be like Turn Right. You know, if we're not going to have the big enemies, let's make these stories interesting. Let's not write gibberish and write complete nonsense, because it is just complete nonsense from what I've seen. Episode 5 has just annoyed me so much. I couldn't watch it. I watched it and I was like, this is so bloody damn cringe. And it doesn't get any better. The twist was okay at the end, and I'm glad there was a twist at the end. But that only saved the episode. And it's like you got twists and turns and like something works, some things don't. But I'm like, huh? Is it just me? Because I can't watch another season of Doctor Who if there's no Daleks, no Cybermen, no Sontarans, no Master. If there's none of that next season, I can't watch it. I can't watch this gibberish in front of me. All season it's been like that. And I've given it time. But we're now halfway through this series. And I can really understand why people don't like this new era of Doctor Who and what Disney is really doing. It's ruining Doctor Who. And it's nothing to do with Disney. It's Bad Wolf. I don't understand, as a company that was based off of Doctor Who, how you can fuck it off and fuck it up. Because the specials weren't too bad with David Tennant. It at least had an element of it was interesting. But with Nuli Gatwa, it's not his fault. It's not, I can't remember, is it, what's her name? I can't remember her name. Ruby. I'm just going to call her Ruby because that's her name as the companion. But I can't remember her actual name. But I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I'm going to wait and see how the next 2 episodes do. But if the next 2 are bad, I'll wait till the end of the season. I love doing reviews, but what I've seen last episode was so bad. I'm interested in the next episode. But if it's like a British episode and it's boring, I can only say Boom's been a strong episode in this season. And that's bad, you know. And I'm glad they've only done 8 episodes this season. I'm not hooked. I'm more hooked by a reality show by the Simon called Inside than Doctor Who now. That's how bad it's gotten. I don't care about Doctor Who. I'd rather work my ass off than wait for the next Doctor Who episode to come out, because it's got that bad. I used to be like, when's the next Doctor Who episode? That's not happened for the last 5 years. 5 years I've been... I don't care if it gets cancelled now. I'd rather it get cancelled, reset in the next 15 years, and then people want it back. Because there are people that are just picking everything out. I'm like, oh god, you just don't like that there's a trans man or a gay man being the Doctor. That's not what I'm annoyed about, or I'm not annoyed about the political agendas, because they are good agendas. It's just picking your right times and picking the right stories. Right now, I want a Dalek. I want a strong Dalek story. I haven't had one since the 12th Doctor. I want a strong Cyberman story. I haven't had a strong Cyberman story since David Tennant. I'm not even kidding. The last time we had the Cyberman that was strong was since David Tennant. And I use a gay man. I'm happy with that. I'm happy to talk about different genders and different, sexualities. But it needs to make sense. I think an episode that I can go back to is a Remembrance of the Daleks. Way back in, I think it was 1989. It was the last season of Doctor Who, the original Doctor Who, with Phyllis McCoy. And he was I was there at Comic Con, I think it was last winter, or this winter, I don't know. It was one of the big ones that they do two, one in the winter, one in the summer. And when he was explaining what the story meant, I was like, there's actually, I watched it again and it made sense. That's what I like about Doctor Who. It never used to be like, oh, in your face, here's a political message. Here's another political message. You're going to look at it. It's going to be in your face for half an hour of this episode. You're going to have to keep looking at it. And that's going to be the main story. No. Doctor Who should have elements of that and history and, how we should change our country, because it is about Britain, basically, and, opening your mind to certain messages. And I don't mind messaging. I think messaging's a very good thing. I've seen it. But it's using it well. It's not using it badly. And it's been used so badly in the last 5 years of Doctor Who. And now it's 6 years because, 2017 was the beginning of Julie Whittaker's era. And that was where it went really downhill. And I was open to Julie Whittaker being the new Doctor because I thought, this has changed, maybe it's going to help. But it didn't. It made Doctor Who worse. And Chibnall's bad writing is creeping into the series again. And we're seeing the exact same thing. There's not been any change. I don't think Disney's even helping Doctor Who at all. I think it's making it weaker. We're not going to get a twist. And I don't care about the Ruby storyline, actually. I love her as a companion, and I love Ncuti Gatwa as a Doctor, but I don't like the way the series is going at the moment. And the only thing I would change, we need to get rid of these old writers. I'm sorry. Chibnall, Stephen Moffat, I would like to come back maybe for few more episodes next season. But I don't think Russell T Davies has brought anything to this series one. His writing's been bad. And that heartbreaks me to say it, but you've not done anything good. You've made it worse for people. You've defied Doctor Who even bigger now. And this is nothing to do with sexualities. Some of the political messages have been okay, but I don't like the way it's going, really. It's like the constant messaging and a constant thing. And then you hear Ncuti Gatwa attacking fans for their opinion. I mean, this was never an issue. We had this slight issue with Stephen Moffat. He used to really do well at the beginning of the season, build a storyline, and then it just drop off the end, and the storyline was like, what? It's like with the end of Clara, her whole legacy as a companion didn't make sense at the end, because the way she died, it was like, what have you done? But at least it didn't, like... For me, for a good story, Doctor Who line, you have to have a good harmony, a good meaning to the story, and it needs to be simple, but not too simple. It needs to have some complexity to it, but it has to have the element of judgment, sometimes, and we haven't had that. And I find this season of Doctor Who weird. I've not enjoyed any of the episodes fully. Boom was close to being like a good 8, but it was still a 7. Because how they've ended every story, it's like, oh, this is what happens. Like last episode, great. Why did you help the girl? She's obviously a brat. Let her die. I would have let her die. If I was the Doctor, I'd been like, right, I've got to go back in time, leave her to die, because she's obviously a brat. She needs to learn some manners. I would have been like, mate, I would have gone back to time and just been like, hi, you're going to die, bye. If I was the Doctor. Why would you just, like, get angry? She obviously was going to do that in the first place, and she killed her icon. Like, nothing... That was another thing. Like, I can't remember the name of the other person, but the other person helped her to get to this place. And then she just kills her. I laughed. I didn't feel any connection. I didn't feel any empathy. And I'm like... And it's nothing to do with... Like, it was actually not... I'll be honest with you, it's not the worst story. There's been worse from Doctor Who. And I've watched Classic Who. There's been so many bad episodes. Because I've been watching Classic Who as well as New Who. And my God, if you were to watch Classic Who, you'd see a completely different... Like, half the stories were not needed to be made for 25 minutes. And they've just wasted their time. And they thought, yeah, this would be just good to put in the middle of the season. But... Episode 5 was a huge step down, and has really questioned whether I watch this show again, because there's episode 6 coming out this weekend. But if it's the same rubbish, I might regret saying this, but I might not watch the rest of the season. And it's a problem. It's a real problem now for Doctor Who, that it's this weird dilemma of we go into another episode and it's just not delivered again. And people could say, oh, it was a really good episode. It wasn't. It was not a good episode. That was cringe. That was awful. To call it even a Doctor Who episode is bare minimal. It was not a Doctor... It had an alien, but that was it. There was no threat. The Doctor didn't even need to land on the planet. Didn't even need to help her because she was a brat. And should have just left her in a little social media world. That's what I thought the Doctor should have bloody done. It's like, boom. Like, you didn't need to save that person, but you were stupid enough to land on a landmine and nearly bloody died. 73 yards. You landed, in Wales, and you treaded on a witch's circle with some sticks, and apparently the witch has come to get you. What is this? No Daleks, no Sontarans, no Cybermen, no Master, no any alien That's going to make a big threat. I heard that the science might come back and that might make it interesting. I hope they do. But they're still going off of this timeless child crap. And I'm like, oh, God. Please, leave it alone. You meant to leave it alone. It's like Children Need Special was ruined because they thought disability. That pissed me off. Don't piss me off changing Davros. If we're going to go off the Davros arc, fair enough. But don't change Davros. And then Christmas Special, kind of rushed, but a good opener to the new season. But it was very similar to the 11th Hour. It's just like, you either copy previous episodes and try and copy them, but it doesn't work. Like, the music's great. The theme tune's not too bad. Those are the only two things I would say it's been pretty good. I like the music from Doctor Who now. It's very good. But big problems for Doctor Who is how they're going to change this. How we're going to get people on board again. I don't see it. I think the show needs to be cancelled from BBC. BBC need to say, okay, Disney, you can either take it, or we are just going to cancel it and unfortunately just give it a rest for about 10 years, because I do think it needs a rest. It needs its time to reflect. We need time to step away from it. There's been too much series and too much change, and it's not working. It's not working. I don't see any hype towards this season from anyone anymore. I don't see it. And people trying to like say it's a very good series. It's not. It's not the show that I am enjoying. And political messages and like sexuality and all of that can be in Doctor Who, but it's how you use it and how you create the story around it. But there's no story. It is just gibberish and random moments that are good, that make the series okay but not great. And you're like, yeah, okay, fair enough. But a few of these episodes, I'm logically thinking about it now, and the Doctor is stupid. He's meant to be stupid sometimes, but not this stupid. Boom. Shouldn't have been there. Dot and Bubble. Shouldn't have been there. 73 Stars. Shouldn't have been there. Devil's Cord. Maybe should have been there. But Space Babies, again. 4 of these episodes could have been avoided. The Doctor just actually took on his main villains. And I don't know where they are yet. But I will watch the rest of the season. I will be keeping watching Doctor Who. But it needs to change. Because I can't keep watching gibberish. That's all I'm saying. But to rate all the episodes, boom, good 7.5. 73 yards, that goes to a 6, and Dot and Bubble is a definite 1. Bloody awful. I hated that episode. That's probably the worst Doctor Who episode ever. That was the worst Doctor Who episode. Oh my God, I just hated the main character. She was so irritating. Oh, I can't use my legs. You fucking stupid. Ugh. You can use your legs. I've seen you using your legs. You're using your legs with... It didn't make any sense. It was not a good episode at all. Right, I'm going to stop talking about this because this is going to get me more angry. Anyway, I'll see you guys at the end of episode. I'm going to do the next 2 episodes and then episode 8, and then we'll do a full review of the season, but it's not looking good. Not at all. Anyway, I'll see you at the end of episode 7. Bye-bye.